Having taken over the body of Satoru Gojo and now possessing not only the limitless curse technique but also all the other techniques stored within his own copy technique, it is undeniable that as of this moment, Yuta is one of the strongest characters that we've seen so far in the series. But the underlying question still remains: will all that be enough to defeat the Epitome of Power, that is Ryoumen Sukuna? Yuta is one of the few characters within the series that has been stated by Gojo himself as having the potential to not only reach him but also possibly surpass him in terms of power. Now, this statement isn't one to be taken lightly. For reference, there aren't many special grade sorcerers in JJK, at least in the present day, with Yuta being one of the few chosen characters. Now, special grades are in a different category on their own, as they are undisputedly stand as the pinnacle of power within the series. Now, within these special grades, only two characters have been able to completely reach what can only be described as God status, as their mere presence sparks fear in everyone present, those people being none other than Gojo Satoru and Ryoumen Sukuna. Now, Yuta has fought Sukuna before, and that battle resulted in Yuta being severely wounded. But Yuta is back now. But this isn't the same old Yuta. No, this is a new and improved Yuta. Yuta 2.2, you might even call it. But just how powerful is this version of Yuta, and how exactly does he pose a threat to the King of Curses? Well, to do that, we're going to have to take a look at his new arsenal of abilities and see what exactly he's packing. Now, let's start with the elephant in the room, the limitless curse technique. Now, if for some reason you might not be aware, Yuta is now in Gojo's body. How? Well, after Yuta had defeated Kenjaku, he had Rika eat his body and in return, granting him Kenjaku's curse technique that lets him switch bodies. So now that Yuta is in Gojo's body, he also possesses the innate curse technique that is limitless. Not only that, but he also has access to the sixth eyes and all of Gojo's memories, which means there's nothing that is stopping Yuta from using the limitless to its fullest potential, which means he can now use lapse blue, reversal red, and even a holo purple with great effectiveness. Not only that, but he also has access to the infinity. It's probably not going to be of much use, as Sukuna does possess the world dismantle, which can bypass infinity, but something that would be very useful is Gojo's domain expansion. Now, since Yuta now has access to Gojo's memories, he should be able to alter the conditions of his limitless void. That would be the problem for Sukuna, just as Gojo did in his fight against Sukuna. Not to mention that with the aid of the limitless curse technique, Yuta has essentially become the fastest sorcerer around, also the strongest, and also possesses the strongest punches. One useful aspect about having access to Gojo's memories is Yuta now has knowledge of other curse techniques that he may not have had before, such as anti-domain techniques like simple domain and falling blossom motion, which adds to some versatility to his attacks. Now, since we're still under the abilities that he has thanks to taking over Gojo's body, it's important that we talk about the six eyes, as they are going to address one of the biggest problems that Yuta had with cursed energy, that obviously being his control, as the six eyes does grant the user the ability to control cursed energy and at an atomic level. And even in the recent chapter, Gojo does mention that Yuta hasn't quite mastered his cursed energy control yet, which is absolutely insane if you think about it. Now that I think we've covered all that Gojo's body has to offer, let's jump into the other abilities that Yuta already possesses and how all those abilities can be amped or improved on now that he possesses the six eyes. So, moving on to one of the many abilities that he has stored within his coffee technique, let's start out with obviously cursed speech. Now, this might not be able to cause significant damage to Sukuna, but it can be used to paralyze him, at least for some time, which would grant him the chance to land a solid hit on Sukuna. Now, remember this, because of use of blue with the limitless curse technique, Yuta technically has one of the strongest punches in the series, if not the strongest punches in the series. So he could deal some heavy damage. And now that he possibly has access to the six eyes, he might be able to spam this technique multiple times, but I think that is still debatable whether it's possible, but it's something worth considering in my opinion. Now, another technique that I believe Yuta has, the Shigigami-like technique. I believe he got it from one of the opponents from the calling game. It just creates Shikigamis in the likeness of Rika, but the best I can see this doing is acting as some sort of distraction, kind of like how Megumi uses Rabbit Escape, or how Toji uses the fly heads in his battle against Gojo. So they can be used as some type of ploy to deceive Sukuna, in the meantime being able to land a solid hit on him. Now, for the technique I'm most excited for, it's the sky manipulation. Now, believe me when I say that this ability is easily one of my favorites in JJK. I think this ability stands out mostly due to how somewhat original it is. I'm not saying this is the first time seeing an ability like this, but it really does stand out in the series like JJK. Anyways, sky manipulation just lets the user interact with the sky as if it were a tangible material or surface. So technically speaking, it's just like spatial distortion as it lets the user interact in such a way that they literally are able to throw back attacks at their opponents. And I've seen Takako, who was the person who Yuta copied this ability from, I've seen her use it to fly as well. Not that it would be necessary, as Yuta already has the limitless now, which means he can fly, as we've seen Gojo done this multiple times. Now, another ability still under sky manipulation is Thin Icebreaker, and by simply hitting the sky itself, Yuta is able to shatter and break the sky itself, and as a result inflicts damage on his opponent. So it's like the base sky manipulation, but it's a more offensive approach, you might say. Now, sky manipulation does have a domain expansion, but we didn't actually see it in the series, in the three-way tie domain expansion that Yuta had in the calling game. But I highly doubt, even if we knew what it was, Yuta would use it, as he already has the limitless void, and it's already so refined that I believe it's the only domain in the series that can go toe-to-toe with Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine. But it's still possible he might use the domain expansion from sky manipulation, because now he does have access to the six eyes, so he could quite possibly refine the domain. You never know. I know I just said that the most exciting technique for me was sky manipulation, but I do believe that this technique I'm about to talk about right now might single-handedly just change the shape of the entire battle. I'm obviously talking about Angel's technique. I believe it's extinguishment or something. I think it allows the user to just nullify all curse techniques it comes in contact with, kind of like the inverted spear of heaven. And the technique itself, the curse technique itself, isn't what's important. What is important is its maximum output, Jacob's ladder, because that's the one we've been shown most screen time of. And it's been shown twice in the series now, when Angel used it and when Yuta used it. And on both occasions, it dealt like a lot of damage on Sukuna. Not only that, not only does it deal damage, but it severs the connection, or at least disrupts the connection between Sukuna and Megumi's body. Now, I feel this technique works best when used with the sure hit effect of a domain, but in order to do that, I think Yuta might have to unleash his own copy technique domain rather than use limitless void, but I don't think he might take the gamble. But I still believe used in conjunction with the other techniques, I think he could create enough time to unleash Jacob's ladder. Like I said, this technique is of the utmost importance, at least in my opinion, in this battle. Now that we've covered what I believe we can call the standout techniques, it's worth mentioning that Yuta still has Sukuna's shrine technique, but for some reason it doesn't have as much as an effect as we expected it to be. Maybe like a solid cleave could do some damage, and if he has some prep time, he could possibly use Sukuna's world dismantle. So yeah, literally anything goes. But like if he were to use the word dismantle, obviously, like I said, he needs some prep time, which I don't know if he might get, because if you guys remember, Gojo's techniques and abilities work best when he's alone. He fights best when he's alone. So Yuta might have to go in solo 1v1 on this, so probably no Yuji, no Todo. But he still has access to Sukuna's techniques, just for reference. I'm not sure if he might use it, but he still has them. Yeah, another thing I wanted to mention before answering the final question is that now that Yuta has the 6 eyes, he's probably going to be able to use RCT a lot better. And I'm not talking about like the base healing wounds and stuff. I mean like being able to infuse RCT into like curse techniques, like the way Gojo is able to use it with reversal red, and Kenjaku used it with I think what is the anti-domain technique when he was fighting Yuki. So like imagine the possibilities of things he could do now that he has the 6 eyes and he's able to use RCT. So he could apply it to literally all the other curse techniques that he already has within his copy technique. So we could see like a reverse sky manipulation. I'm not quite sure how to picture what the abilities have, but like the concept is really good, and I think he could turn the tide of battle. Once again, these are just stuff that he could potentially do now that he has the 6 eyes. It isn't confirmed, but I believe it should be possible, relatively speaking. Now let's answer the main question. If you guys have anything you'd like to add, any of your opinions, let me know in the comments section. Let's move on to the final answer. Now, to answer the final question, does Yuta with all these abilities should he be able to defeat Sukuna? I think the answer would be yes. But then, will Yuta defeat Sukuna? For me, I would have to say it's a no. Or probably, who knows? Let me cook for a bit. So yeah, Yuta does have a lot of abilities that should definitely give him the edge over Sukuna, but the thing is that Yuta isn't the main character, so he isn't going to land the final blow. Will he put up a fight? Yeah, I believe so, absolutely. But it's worth mentioning that Ryoumen said that Sukuna isn't even using his full power yet, which kind of sounds like BS, but still, by that logic, Sukuna quite possibly, for the 1 millionth time in the series, has a hidden technique from the Heian era that could quite possibly win the battle for him. I might just be speaking here because this happened definitely against Gojo, because based on what we saw in the Gojo fight, it definitely seemed like towards the end of the fight Gojo had an edge, but things happen. But I don't know how to put it. Yuta isn't gonna win. To be fair, he might quite possibly die. I think a lot of people already believe he's gonna die, because after the 5 minutes of using Kenjaku's curse technique, it's gonna be over. I do believe though that even after the 5 minutes elapse, he's still going to be in Gojo's body, because by that logic, if the curse technique was over, then technically that means anytime Kenjaku switches body, his curse technique is running 24/7, and I don't believe that's accurate, because imagine the amount of cursed energy for you to run your technique 24/7, 365 days. And Kenjaku has been in Geto's body for like how many years now? So he has been running his curse technique for almost like 3-4 years now, and you'd need like something like freaking like the 6 eyes itself, and I'm not sure you could get curse and your technique could get burnt out. But I think that's enough yammering from me. I've spoken my opinion. If you don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. After all, I'm just making theories here, I'm making predictions. I'm not Giga Akutami, I didn't write this shit. But let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments, Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As you guys noticed, I'm not feeling too well. I didn't script a majority of this video, so you could notice I was stammering a lot. So I did write some few key notes in order to guide me through the video, but hopefully I do get better. I want to be uploading more consistently now, maybe like a video every 3-4 days, not just every week now. So if you find that interesting, consider giving a like, maybe subscribe, join the family, join the channel. So with that being said, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.